Hi, I'm April and I'm in my shop today and I've got my safety glasses and my dust mask, and we are going to be turning these tools into these tools with a simple bench grinder, a belt sander, and the buffing wheel. You could probably do it with a flex shaft and some more discs and things. It's going to take you a lot longer, but it's possible. So come join us because it's great to be able to make your own tools. I'd like to show you a few things that you can use to make some chisels for our XOXO project. And these are some that we've made out of many sets of these, but I wanted to show you this is kind of what we're after here. And this is the box from Harbor Freight. And this is what it looks like, brand new. And this is what you get. And really, the only thing that we're going to be using for these projects is these three out of the set. Perhaps we can flatten some of these or make some of these into something for this project, but they'll be great for other projects. And then this one I use often too, this smaller one here. I often blunt this and make it into a triangle so that I can get into triangular pointy areas that I can't get into any other way. But I'm going to show you how to make some of these guys. And we are going to turn this into that. See how it's already the basic shape. It's just that we want to round the corners and refine the finish. Although the finish isn't super critical, it could have a little bit of a 600 grit finish on it and it would probably be fine. I'm going to try to take this one and make it into this one. So I'm using the bench grinder that has a real coarse stone on it. You know what? You can use whatever you have. It just may take longer with a finer thing, but then you have less refining to do. But I'm going to knock off the corners and soften everything without changing. I don't want to round the end too terribly much. Just slightly, like this one. Doesn't take much. It really doesn't take too much to change these. It's sort of rounding any of those sharp points. And I want to take off any of these sharp edges, but I might do that with a belt sander. I'm trying to make this a triangular faced piece, and I'm close, but no cigar. So I'll stop and do a little marking with a Sharpie so that I can refine it better with a belt sander. Okay, let's see what it takes to do this with my handy dandy belt sander. And if this is what you have, and it depends on the grit of the belt that you have to work with. Ideally, I think I'd start with a coarser one, but I'm kind of lazy and I don't want to change it out. So we're going to just see what we can do with this one. Now, of course, you have eye protection on. And a dust mask is also a wonderful thing because breathing this stuff and getting it in your eyes is not what we want to do. So let's go. Just rounding all those sharp corners. Up here where there's no backing up here. A little bit more rounded. It looks pretty good. For a rough start. I just don't want any sharp corners, and I could probably buff out the rest of this with a coarse bobbing compound or something on a wheel, a soft wheel. So that's what I'm going to do to all the rest of these. And then I will also try to refine this triangular guy that I worked on the grinder with. And I will show you what he looks like when I work on him a little bit. And you don't want these guys to get hot. So as you're grinding, if you feel them start to get a little bit warm, I use a wet sponge and I put it on something like these are just coffee lids to kind of keep the water in there and the mess down, and dab it on there and keep it cool because you don't want to spoil the temper in these things by letting them get too hot. the coarse wheel that I was using, and I have that marked. It says coarse there. These are unitizing wheels, 3M, and I mark which goes on the inside, so it's just easier when I'm grabbing it to get it on the tapered spindle correctly. But that's the number on these. I can give you the numbers for these. This is the medium one. And I'll do the round of all my tools with the medium one and go on down to the fine next. Last round of it is going to be a polishing wheel. I'd like it even harder, closer to the stitching, but it is what it is. And this is the one that I use bobbing compound on. Tripoli would be fine too, if that's what you have, or an emery. So it just needs a polish. So here's a quick look at the production. You can see they look pretty good on the ends, and that's really what's important. I didn't spend a lot of time getting anal about cleaning that up. Maybe if I was just making a set for myself, I would work harder on that, but I didn't have the time. So these are the ones that I have. I want to show you the shapes that I ended up making. This one was out of the round kind of punchy thing, and I made a triangle. And then I polished up these guys. You can see I have a small one, and they're about the same bluntness on the ends, but they're different widths, and they do have a little bit of a soft curve to them. They're not perfectly straight. This one's a little bit more straight. Focus, there we go. I can see a little area now on the camera that I missed on the polishing. It's probably not the surface that would be touching your metal, but it's kind of a bigger punch, and it would be good for certain things. So here's my group of them. I'd say they look pretty good for the money. If you've got the time, you can do it for nothing. This kind of thing turned into this. This one turned into this one. So you could do a even three-sided triangle. I just kind of winged it. It changed a lot in the process. This was a pain in the ass. The rest of these just kind of rounded up and smoothed what was already there.